Ever think about those ancient texts? The ones that have been lost or too damaged to read? Well, get this. Artificial intelligence is helping us unlock their secrets.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're using AI to decipher ancient languages, piece together fragments, and even reveal text hidden under damage.
This deep dive is for anyone who's ever wondered what stories are waiting to be uncovered from the past.
Right. And by the end, you'll have a pretty good idea of how AI is being used and what it means for understanding history.
So let's start with a story that feels like it's straight out of a movie. Those Herculaneum scrolls, the ones buried by Mount Vesuvius.
Oh, yeah, fascinating. They were found way back in the 18th century, but every time they tried to read them, they just caused more damage, like a whole library locked away.
And this is where it gets really cool. Researchers are using AI, convolutional neural networks, CNNs, to basically virtually unwrap and read these scrolls.
You can think of it kind of like CNNs analyze images the same way our brains do. They're trained to see the ink underneath the damage, like an X-ray.
There's this pecorologist, Federica Nicolardi, at the University of Naples. When she saw the AI reveal readable text for the first time, she said, "It was incredible. I thought, so this is really happening."
I bet. It's a perfect example of how AI can help us get past those physical barriers that have always stopped us from studying these texts.
And it's not just damaged text. AI is helping with all sorts of problems deciphering ancient writing. Take, for example, the oracle bone script from ancient China. Those inscriptions on bone and turtle shells are really hard to read because of erosion and breaking.
Yeah, and CNNs are great there too. They can look at the shape and style of the characters, even filling in the missing parts based on what they've learned from other samples.
Like a digital restorer for ancient languages. And they can even piece together the bone and shell fragments that have been broken apart like a huge historical jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, it's really changing how we look at these materials, automating some of the boring and time-consuming stuff so researchers can focus on the bigger questions and insights.
So CNNs are good with images of text, but what about when we need to look at the text itself, like filling in missing words or figuring out the grammar? That's where another type of AI comes in, recurrent neural networks, RNNs.
RNNs are good at understanding information that's in a sequence, which is perfect for language. Imagine you're deciphering some ancient Babylonian administrative document, full of legal stuff and phrases they use over and over again.
Yeah, not exactly a bestseller.
Exactly. But an RNN can analyze the patterns and predict the missing words or phrases, like having a digital assistant that's an expert on ancient Babylonian law.
That would make those documents a whole lot more interesting. But let's move on to something a little more exciting. AI that can actually translate ancient Greek texts. We're talking about projects like Pythia and Ithaca.
Oh, those are some interesting projects for sure. They're a huge jump forward in our ability to understand ancient Greek, especially the incomplete or damaged stuff.
And it all started as a collab between two PhD students at Oxford. Thea Summershield, studying ancient history, and Yannis Asel, a computer scientist. They basically wanted to see if machine learning could crack ancient Greek inscriptions.
That's a perfect pairing of expertise. Summershield was trying to decipher inscriptions with missing parts, different dialects, and unclear origins, all the things that make these texts a challenge, and Asel saw how AI could be the answer.
So they trained this AI model called Pythia on a huge database of Greek inscriptions. Then they gave it new texts to decipher, and the results were amazing.
Oh, yeah. Summershield described it as a movie moment when they saw the AI accurately restore characters for the first time. It was proof AI could read ancient Greek and understand the nuances of the language.
But they didn't stop there. They went on to create Ithaca, an even more advanced AI which uses a state-of-the-art transformer model. This model is a game changer. It analyzes different parts of a text all at the same time, looking at the context and meaning of all the surrounding words.
Which means Ithaca doesn't just predict words. It could even estimate when and where a text was written. Super valuable for figuring out the historical context.
So now we've got AI that can read damaged texts, reconstruct parts, and even pinpoint the time and place of origin, like giving historians a superpower upgrade.
Totally. And what's really cool is that Ithaca is available online for anyone to use.
Hold on, so anyone with the internet can use this. That's incredible. Like we're opening up ancient Greek texts to everyone.
Totally a game changer. And it has the potential to make studying ancient history open to everyone. Researchers are already using Ithaca to redate Athenian political decrees and are looking at tablets with questions to the Oracle of Dodona.
It's mind-blowing to think about all the discoveries we could make with this, but we got to remember that AI isn't about replacing us.
Exactly. It's about giving us new tools.
Think of it as a team effort between humans and artificial intelligence, pushing the boundaries of historical research.
It's a really exciting time to be in this field. The possibilities are endless.
It's amazing to think AI is like this key unlocking all these secrets from the past. But what if those secrets lead to stories we never even thought of about languages we can't understand yet?
Now that's getting into some uncharted territory. Think about those cultures we only know from bits and pieces, inscriptions, little hints. What if their languages, their whole ways of thinking are just waiting to be decoded?
Like a library of books, but they're all in code, and we've had no clue where to even start. But AI might be the code breaker we've been needing.
It's crazy because AI doesn't need something like the Rosetta Stone, a direct translation, to start working. It can find patterns just within the fragments themselves. Imagine feeding it every inscription we have, every little piece of pottery with markings, and just letting it go to work.
So it's like teaching AI to be a language detective. No case too cold. But how would it even know where to begin?
AI is incredible at pattern recognition,
Right.
even when the patterns are super subtle. By looking at huge amounts of data, it can start to see underlying structures, like the grammar, how words relate to each other, even how symbols changed over time.
So it's not translating word for word, it's more like understanding the logic of a lost language, how those people put their thoughts together.
Yeah, exactly. And as it builds that understanding, it can start to fill in the gaps, not just in texts, but in our understanding of those entire civilizations. What did they care about? What stories did they tell? How did they see the world?
It's almost like we're giving a voice back to the voiceless, letting them speak to us across thousands of years. But this brings up something we haven't really talked about yet, the human element.
Right. With all the excitement about AI, we can't forget this isn't just about machines spitting out data. It's about what we do with that data, how we understand it, how we fit it into the story of humanity.
Because facts are one thing, but meaning, well, that's where it gets really interesting. And that's where historians, archaeologists, all the people who work so hard to understand the past, that's where they come in.
Imagine this. AI gives a researcher a possible translation of some long-lost inscription. Now it's up to that researcher to connect the dots, to see where that inscription fits in history, to figure out what it really means.
AI is a tool, but it's the human mind that makes sense of it all. It's like AI gives us the puzzle pieces, but we're the ones putting it together, seeing the bigger picture.
And that picture is always changing. As AI gets better, as we give it more information, it'll keep refining what it understands, offer new ideas, challenge our assumptions. It's always moving.
Which means history itself becomes more dynamic. It's not just facts in a textbook, it's alive, always open to new interpretations, and AI is just adding to that.
I agree. It's a tool for exploring, for pushing the limits of what we thought we knew. And the best part is we're just getting started figuring out what's possible.
Speaking of just getting started, let's look at how this is playing out in the real world. We talked about the Vesuvius challenge, but have you heard about the work being done with the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Oh, absolutely. Those scrolls are packed with history, but they're so fragile and broken up. Trying to put them back together, deciphering them, it's a huge job.
Like a giant jigsaw puzzle, only the pieces are ancient parchment, and the picture could change how we understand early Judaism and Christianity.
And that's where AI is becoming so important. Researchers are using all sorts of techniques, including computer vision.
Wait, computer vision, didn't we talk about that with the Oracle bone script?
You got it? Same idea. Teaching AI to see and understand images. This time it's analyzing really high-resolution scans of the Dead Sea Scroll fragments.
So picture AI looking through thousands of these digital pieces. It can compare shapes, handwriting, even little damage patterns to figure out which ones go together.
It's like a digital assistant who knows everything about ancient writing.
Yeah.
And he can work way faster and more accurately than any human.
So AI is speeding up the process of putting it all back together, but it's doing even more. It's analyzing what's in the scrolls, looking for patterns and connections we might have missed.
Imagine that. AI could find small differences in the language, point out themes, even find links between different texts we didn't know about.
Like a research assistant that can read tons of pages in ancient Hebrew and Aramaic super fast definitely changes things.
And remember, it's not just about single texts. AI can help us analyze these texts together, showing us patterns and connections that tell us more about the time they were written in.
It's all about understanding the big picture, how these texts fit into history. And AI is giving us the tools to do that in ways we never thought possible.
It's a real team effort. We're using our expertise to guide the AI, understand what it finds, and use that to get a richer and deeper understanding of the past.
It's pretty wild to think we're using the same tech that powers self-driving cars and facial recognition to unlock secrets from ancient civilizations.
It really shows you how versatile AI is. And the really interesting thing is how this could change who gets to do historical research.
Yeah. It's not just for academics anymore. Imagine high schoolers using AI to analyze ancient Greek inscriptions or a local historical society translating old documents.
Like giving anyone with internet access a powerful research tool. It could totally change how we learn and interact with history.
That's exciting, but it also makes me wonder about using these tools responsibly. We don't want AI spreading misinformation or making up history.
Right, that's a good point. It shows how important critical thinking and education are. We need to teach people how to evaluate information, especially now with AI.
It's like anything else. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It depends on the person using it.
And that's where we come in. We can't just rely on AI for all the answers. We need historians, archaeologists, and other experts to interpret the data, give it context, and make sure it's accurate.
It's about working together, not replacing each other. AI can give us the pieces, but we have to build the story.
Okay, so let's step back for a minute. What if AI could help us understand not just individual texts, but like bigger historical trends and patterns?
Now that's interesting. Could we use AI to look at tons of historical data texts, inscriptions, archaeological records, maybe even climate data, and find connections that we'd miss?
That's the goal, right? To have an AI historian that can go through mountains of information and show us hidden patterns that could rewrite history as we know it.
Imagine discovering how ideas traveled across ancient empires, or how climate change affected how civilizations rose and fell. It'd be like having a time machine powered by algorithms.
And what we learn wouldn't just be about the past. It could help us understand what's happening today and even tackle some of the problems we're facing.
By learning from history, hopefully we can make better choices in the future. AI could help us unlock that wisdom in a way we've never seen before.
Definitely exciting. It's amazing how far we've come from those burned scrolls in Herculaneum.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. Deciphering lost languages, finding hidden patterns. It feels like we're at the start of a new era of historical discovery.
And it's all because of the power of AI.
So, to everyone listening, what historical mysteries would you want AI to solve? What stories are you dying to hear? Let us know what you think, because this is only the beginning of the conversation.